There's very few players that come along each year that have win a league potential beyond win a league potential. And I'm talking about, this is the player you look back on and you say, I won my league because of this player. Last year, it was Kyren Williams. Last year it was Devon Achane. This man right here. And it was also Kyren Williams. These two gentlemen had consistently, Kyren and Achane, consistently being taken in the second and third round. On Underdog, promo code SMITTY, if you want to partake in a playoff draft, hit that code that links in the description. On Underdog last year, we drafted Kyren and Achane in the third round pretty much the entire offseason. And if you wanted to couple both of them together, go wide receiver, running back, you had to take one of them in round 2, the other you took in round 3. This year's Kyren and Achane is this man, Breece Hall, who is mother freaking 8 feet tall. The Fantasy Football Show Breece Hall Revenge Tour Bounce Back video begins right now.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece.
He does a hell of a job. A hell of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
Quizás a jale yo.
Breece Hall does a hell of a job. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, where's my marker at? I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Breece Hall doesn't walk you into a little bit of risk in 2025 if you draft him. And we're talking to the tune of, let's say if he was here's round 1, here's round 2, here's round 3, here's round 4. If you were drafting him even mid-second, that holds a significant amount of risk right now anyway, because we don't know who the quarterback is in New York. We don't know what's going on coaching-wise. It's just a big mess over in New York. And I don't feel really uber confident that they're going to solve the quarterback situation in a way that I feel very satisfied, unless they bring in Justin Fields, which is my hope that they somehow bring him in. Then I love Breece Hall, and I think the rest of the world will climb out of what I predict to be, not to spoil the video, but third, maybe top of 4 round ADP for Breece Hall in 2025. Now, keep in mind that this is speculation. This is guesswork right now. This is educated guessing. He might go in round 2 on the clockwork, on the consistent. We don't know really where Breece Hall is going to go. We don't have enough draft data. Even if we had data, and there's some out there, people are doing some mocks, but it's not enough numbers and masses to make an actual ADP and drive home consistent expectation. But I'm going to tell you, through all the experience I have, through 20 plus years of doing this professionally, that this feels like a third round player. This feels very much like the doubt that was attached to Kyren and Achane in 2024 offseason. The entire offseason, Achane and Kyren, over and over and over, we got these two gentlemen in round freaking 3 and round 2. And again, only in round 2 near the end did we see Achane or Kyren. It kind of depended on if it was best ball or yearly league, home leagues. But one of them was kind of always in round 3 the entire offseason. They both were in round 3 a majority of the offseason. And then near the tail end, you could get 1 and 2. One of the players in round 2 and one of the players in round number 3. But it was such an amazing approach. Imagine going right now this year. Imagine going Jamar Chase in round 1, going Achane in round 2. And Achane's going to go right around 10, 8 overall, 12 overall, somewhere in this territory right here. But imagine getting Chase in round 1, Achane in round 2, Kyren in round 3. I mean, it was glorious. It was a fantastic maneuver. But Hall is a player that I believe we're going to be able to get this guy in that same range. And there might be another player that's comparable, to where we say, okay, we do have 2 players that are going to fall. But right now, that player falling is Breece Hall. And Breece Hall stands alone as, in my opinion, the biggest steal in round 3 that I can cook up at all. Unless we're talking about a quarterback like JD5, or let's say Josh Allen falls because your league just hates early quarterback drafting. That's also a big steal. Lamar Jackson. All those quarterbacks in round 3 and 4 are fantastic as well. But Breece Hall has that same value and upside and lack of risk, very low risk, very high reward that Kyren and Achane had in 2024. So I'm telling you guys all this now. I'm gonna own so many third round shares, and if I get lucky enough, we don't even know, it could be like 4.2. People are definitely afraid of this situation. And it's not so much about people hating Breece Hall. Like, even when people say, yeah, I can't take him at 3.2. I can't take him at 2.12. I can't take him at 3.4, Smitty. It's not that they hate him. They're just going to like other players better, and they're just going to be very fearful of the New York Jets, which rightfully so. That's why if you were to put Breece Hall, okay, let me simplify it. Hey, Smitty, how high could Breece Hall potentially be value-wise? Well, good question, Steve. He is as good of a player right now as he was entering last offseason, which means that he has the capability of being a top 5 overall player. So a top 5 overall player, the problem is there's no way I would ever draft him with all the risk factors involved at his ceiling value. The good news is we don't have to. The good news is we don't have to take him even in round 1. The even better news is we probably don't have to take him in round 2, maybe at some point the bottom of round 2. The great news is we actually get to wait all the way till at least probably the top of round 3, making him your third drafted player. And that's where this thing gets flipped upside down. A lot of people say, I'm avoiding Breece. I'm avoiding Breece. I don't trust the New York Jets. That is a very blanket way to look at this. If this is your round 1, this is your round 2, this is your round 3. Let's just make it four rounds, actually. This is round 4, okay? And you have Breece Hall. Okay, this is old value. This is old value. Hell no. Not just because we're concerned about New York, but you don't have to take him here. Okay, so what's the line in the sand? I explain this all the time. Probably the most important thing outside of best player available, drafting, not a position, you draft a player. You draft the best player available, BPA, which opens the door to hero, which opens the door to wide receiver, which opens the door to late quarterback drafting, early tight end. Going best player available doesn't eliminate other draft strategies. It's the top level parent that you must use to open the doors that make the most sense. Maybe hero running back doesn't make sense from that ADP spot. If you are drafting at 1.04 and the right player is not there to go hero, and you're going to maybe go hero, to grab your RB in round 2, but it doesn't fall right. So you go wide receiver, you're trying to do hero RB from round 2, and the running back doesn't fall to round 2 that you like. You don't force it because you hear hero's the way to go. I heard from a guy over here that hero RB wins leagues. You can't always enforce the approach you want to enforce or deploy the strategy you want to deploy. It doesn't work like that. You've got to let best player available open the door. The most important thing I could tell anybody besides best player available is line in the sand. Where is your line in the sand where a player becomes a total avoid? They flip into an absolute must-have grab, like the frog in boiling water. You throw a frog in boiling water, rounds 1 through 2, he jumps out. Too extreme. He jumps out. He realizes what time it is. You put a frog in lukewarm water, turn it on high, but it's lukewarm. Slowly gets hotter. The frog boils to death, has no idea. It's so subtle that he just boils to death. Doesn't jump out. That's what happens when people lock onto, I can't take Breece Hall at 1 overall. No one said you had to in 2025, Steve. Calm down, relax. Okay, but yeah, I still don't trust him. I'm not making Breece Hall my first round player. No one said you had to, Steve. He's falling. Is he a safe second round player? Not really, because of the ambiguity, which might get cleared up, and then he becomes a safe round 2 player, and we'll adjust and adapt and address his ADP then. But right now, because his ADP is probably lower, the line in the sand for Breece Hall when he flips from I don't want to say he's an avoid near the end of 2, but he's an avoid, starting to get closer to the line. It's a gray area. Sometimes the gray area is 2, 3, 4 picks deep. And then he flips into a must-have anywhere as a third drafted player. If you're getting him at 3.1, 3.4, 3.5, if you're so lucky, and maybe we're all wrong, his ADP falls even further, then that's less risk you have with that situation, the more upside. The further you get him, the more chance you have of destroying your league mates into oblivion. But I think that the line in the sand for where he goes from okay, it's risky, boom, 3.1. Your third drafted player, that's where Breece Hall's line in the sand is to turn from avoid, or maybe not the best value, absolute.
You've just been Smitty approved.
And on that note, Breece Hall, you are a Revenge Tour board fella.
It's time for some revenge, baby.
This board will have 4, 5, 6 names on it. Probably one player from each position and then maybe a couple extra bonus players. But Breece Hall represents the bounce back running back, the Revenge Tour. The Revenge Tour running back. So he is the number one Revenge Tour, the number one bounce back running back 2025. He screams HN Kyron at cost of entry. Now go win a league. And don't forget to get on over to my 365 website, thefantasyfootballshow.com. The rankings are year round. There's never a shutdown or a slow period. In fact, the majority of this site for 20 plus years of me creating content, because I did content before I did any sort of radio, and I did radio before I did any sort of YouTube and video. But I've done this for the entire time, 20 plus years, 25 I think plus years of content creation, and I invented, I believe, the first instant-based player-facing trade calculator where you didn't have to download like software and enter your whole team and your whole scoring. I said to myself back in 2002, 2003, nobody has a trade calculator out there, and that's why I started in this industry back in 2003. So I created 2002, 2003, created the first trade calculator that I know of, and it's an absolute gem. I've tweaked it, made it better every year. It can handle multiple player trades. It's dynasty and redraft. In fact, when you do a calculation, you don't have to select, am I doing a redraft trade or a dynasty trade? As I said, I've tweaked it over the years. It actually is a calculator that you just select the players you want, 3 for 1, 2 for 1, 2 for 2, 5 for 5. And then it spits out the redraft and dynasty value of the trade, so you don't have to worry about running it twice. And it's even when you're doing like a redraft trade, it's nice to look at the dynasty values so you kind of know, okay, the confidence Smitty has in this player for the long term helps me decide how strong of a rise he might have and how much he really is, married to this ranking if he's that excited about him long term. So it's so good to have both the calculations on there, bold predictions, video courses, rankings galore, rookie rankings. My probably most popular rankings are the super rookie rankings, which I coined so many years ago before people even started talking about stuff like this, where it's the rookies and sophomores only. And that way you get a real nice dynasty sense of where everybody ranks. So go check out all the rankings, thefantasyfootballshow.com, the Patreon. All these links are in the description. The Patreon is $10 a month. It's the best live chat, in my opinion, best live chat environment you can find. The entire YouTube live chat community is like just funneled into this Patreon live chat group. So $10 a month, cancel anytime. It's like a cup of coffee. Try it 1 month. If you don't like it, you spent $10, but I think you're going to love it. It's the best place to go get instant live chat. All these chat rooms are all live in one place. My community, I'm in there chiming in. It's the best place to go get instant advice, in my opinion. So go check it out. I'll see you all at 8 p.m. I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. And also live additionally whenever big news breaks. And also additionally live most graveyard shifts at midnight Eastern after dark shows. Appreciate you.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece. He's Breece.
He does a hell of a job. A hell of a job. A hell of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
Kidasa Hale Bayot